Fantasist whose rape lies drove 3 men to attempt suicide is jailed for 8 years. CCTV reveals moment serial liar bought hammer she used to beat her own face in and pot noodle she ate in hotel, as she claimed she was victim of Asian grooming gang.
A fantasist whose lies about being raped by an Asian grooming gang drove 3 men to attempt suicide was today jailed for 8.5 years, as CCTV footage revealed the moment she bought a hammer which she used to beat her own face in. Eleanor Williams, 22, was found guilty of perverting the course of justice earlier this year after accusing several innocent men of raping, trafficking and abusing her in a Facebook post that included graphic images she claimed to have sustained. The post, made during lockdown in May 2020, was shared more than 100,000 times and sparked national outrage, leading to dangerous racial unrest and a protest in her hometown of Barrow-in-Furness attended by EDL founder Tommy Robinson. But evidence would reveal her allegations were entirely made up, with CCTV showing her in Tesco buying the hammer she would use to harm herself and a packet of pot noodles she ate in a hotel at the same time she claimed she was being held captive. The fallout from her elaborate tissue of lies saw 3 of the wrongly accused men try to take their own lives, a curry house attacked by thugs and a Muslim takeaway owner chased down the street by men who poured alcohol on his head. Sentencing. Judge Robert Tall said there was no explanation for Williams' lies as he criticized her for showing no significant sign of remorse. He said she was not racially motivated and chose to accuse Asian as well as white men to copy other cases of national prominence. Mr. All said, "It is troubling to say the least that she shows no significant signs of remorse." He said there was no explanation for why the defendant made the allegations, which he described as complete fiction. He added, "Unless and until the defendant chooses to say why she has told these lies we will not know." Williams, whose case was mentioned by high-profile figures including Geordie Shore's Holly Haig and Blythe and Countdown presenter Rachel Riley, looked straight ahead and thanked the judge after he sentenced her. Mohammed Ramzan, a business owner who was accused of grooming Williams, told the court his life had been made hell on earth by false allegations. Mr. Ramzan, who was in tears as he spoke from the witness box, said 2 weeks after he was arrested following Williams' claims he attempted to take his own life. He said, "I still bear the scars to this day." Mr. Ramzan said his property had been damaged and his businesses had been ruined after he and his family were targeted in the most horrendous way. "I have had countless death threats made over social media from people all over the world because of what they thought I was involved in," he said. Speaking outside court today, he vowed to stay in Barrow. "I am not sure how my family and I are going to recover from this," he said, before adding that they are determined to move forward positively with their lives. Jordan Trangove said his life was utterly destroyed by Williams' allegations. The word rapist had been spray-painted across his house and his window was smashed after she accused him of raping and attacking her. After he was charged following Williams' claims, he said he spent 73 days in prison, where he shared a cell with a convicted sex offender. He said, "Things had calmed down a bit until the Facebook post in 2020. This made things even worse for me. There were big protests and marches in Barrow. The lowest point was when I tried to end my life in August 2020. And a second man, Oliver Gardner, said his chance encounter with Williams in Preston led to him being sectioned under the Mental Health Act." Mr. Gardner, who was accused of rape after he met Williams in the city centre, said it was a real shock when he was contacted by Cumbria police and told of her claims, adding, "It was just a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time." In his statement, he said he tried to end his life before being sectioned, saying, "This whole period in my life had been totally overwhelming." Cameron Bibby, who was the first man accused of rape by Williams in 2017, said he had to remove himself from most social media. He continued to say that because of the online abuse, he also became scared to pick his son up from nursery because of the way people looked at him. He said after Williams posted her account on Facebook, his neighbors displayed Justice for Ellie stickers in their windows, which intimidated him. Superintendent Matthew Behrman, of Cumbria Police, said Williams' allegations led to public displays of mass anger in Barrow, with protests held outside the police station and on a retail park. Videos of English Defence League founder Tommy Robinson in the town were shown in court. In a letter read to the court, Williams said she had not instigated anything which happened in the community and did not want Robinson, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, to come to the town. She said, "I do not agree with his views or opinions." In the letter to the judge, she said, "I'm not saying I'm guilty, but I know I have done wrong on some of this and I'm sorry. I'm devastated at the trouble that had been caused in Barrow. If I knew what consequences would have come from that status, I never would have posted it." Louise Blackwell KC, defending Williams, said her client maintained the allegations were true. She added, "Other than her personal vulnerabilities and her age, there doesn't appear to be any motivation at all." Deputy Chief Constable Mark Webster said in a statement that businesses had been forced to close and members of the community had left their homes because of the outcry. Defending Williams, Louise Blackwell KC said, "Miss Williams continues in her allegations against the various people in pretty much the same circumstances." Williams was 19 when she claimed on Facebook she had been raped and abused by a grooming gang operation in the coastal town of Barrow. It sparked protests and led to former English Defence League founder Tommy Robinson visiting the town to investigate the claims. Williams' trial, which began in October last year, heard she had accused a number of men of rape, going back to 2017, and told police she was groomed and trafficked by an Asian gang. On May 19, 2020, she was found by officers near her home on Wani Island with injuries which she claimed were inflicted by the gang after she was taken to a house in the town and raped. But the prosecution claimed Williams caused the injuries to herself with a hammer, which was found with her blood on close by. It was alleged Williams sent some messages to herself, making them appear as if they were from traffickers or fellow victims, and in other cases manipulated real people to send messages which she then said were from her abusers. Williams had claimed business owner Mohammed Ramzan had groomed her from the age of 12, and had put her to work at brothels in Amsterdam and sold her at an auction there. But the court heard at the time she was in the Dutch capital, his bank card was being used at a B&Q in Barrow. When confronted with evidence that she had been with her sister and her sister's boyfriend the whole time she was in Amsterdam and the abuse could not have happened, Williams maintained her version of events was correct. Restaurant owner Mohammed Ramzan, whom Williams claimed had groomed her from the age of 12, was arrested over her lies and said he and his family received more than 500 death threats. He branded her delusional and a fantasist in court. Amid heightened racial tensions, one curry house had its windows smashed and a Muslim takeaway owner was chased down the street by men who poured alcohol on his head. It also painted a target on the backs of the men she accused. One man saw his wife leave him over the claims, while another family were forced to move away from the town altogether. On another occasion she accused a man of threatening to kill her unless she had sex with 8 men in Blackpool, local newspaper The Mail reported. But this was another fabrication, with CCTV showing she booked herself into a hotel and then stayed inside apart from a brief walk to the shops. She accused another man, Jordan Drangov, of raping her, an allegation that led to him spending 10 weeks on remand in prison. He was finally cleared when police realized he had been in the back of one of their vans at the exact time he was supposed to have raped her. He had been arguing at a taxi rank when he was spotted by officers. Evidence that she posted on social media, including messages from the men who were alleged to have abused her, were found to be misleading or outright false by police. During her evidence, Williams initially denied telling a pack of lies to the police and the jury. Asked about her Facebook post, she said, "I wanted people to know what was going on in Barrow, still is going on." But the jury did not believe her, instead finding her guilty of making the claims up and causing her own injuries as part of a fantasy. She had pleaded guilty at an earlier hearing to one count of perverting the course of justice, which related to contacting her sister and mother with requests for them to take a hammer to her solicitor. Williams' mother, 51-year-old Labour councillor Alison Johnston has insisted she believes her daughter despite her lies being exposed in court. Senior investigating officer Doug Marshall said today, "It is important for people to understand that these were far from victimless crimes." Williams named specific individuals as being responsible for trafficking and abusing her, individuals who were found to have committed no such offences. In a number of cases, her claims led to innocent men being arrested by officers who, understandably, took such appalling allegations seriously. Williams had produced compelling evidence when reporting her abuse. However, as detectives investigated her accounts, they found evidence that Williams had not only lied but had concocted evidence to support her allegations, including creating fake Snapchat accounts and inflicting injuries on herself. Cases such as this, where someone has invented crimes and concocted evidence, are extremely rare. What is, sadly, not rare is physical and sexual abuse against children and young adults. It occurs in Barrow, in Cumbria and across the country.